to rock, some people like to roll. We're moving and a grooving, gonna set us on my soul, let's have a party.
Reba ruled the stage. Wanda dated Elvis. Tammy lived through 5 marriages, and Bobby disappeared after fame. These women broke every Nashville rule for love and power. What secrets made them the most talked about stars of their time? Number 27. Shelby Lynne. Shelby Lynne came into country music with a fire no label could tame. Her 1989 debut turned heads, but her real story played out off stage. Fast love, fights, and a stubborn heart that refused to play the Nashville game. After her father's tragic death when she was 17, she carried rebellion like a badge. Shelby's songs, raw and smoky, felt like diary pages no one was meant to hear. She once said, "You sing pain long enough, it becomes part of you." Maybe that's why she lived every lyric too close to the edge. Something about that edge called another free spirit next. Number 26, Skeeter Davis.
Why do the birds go unseen?
Skeeter Davis had the charm of a southern dream and the tongue of a storm. By the early 60s, she was already making hits like The End of the World, but by the 70s, her private life outpaced her career. Married 4 times, her love life fueled endless late-night talk around Music Row. She clashed with the Grand Ole Opry for calling out church hypocrisy on air, proof that Skeeter played by her own rules. Her laughter filled every party, but her diary hinted at loneliness that fame never cured. And in the next story, love turned from laughter to heartbreak on stage. Number 25, Tammy Cochran.
From the time she was 13, Julie Thompson had a dream.
Tammy Cochran wrote her pain into melody. Her 2001 hit, Angels in Waiting, came from losing her brothers young. But her heartbreak didn't stop there. Behind the lights, her romances burned quick and deep. She said music was her only lasting relationship. And maybe that was true. Nashville whispered about her fiery temper, but she poured every humor into truth with songs like I Cry. By the mid-2000s, she lived a decade of love stories no label could script. Yet, for one singer, whispers turned from heartbreak to forbidden secrets inside the studio walls. Number 24, Barbara Fairchild.
Starry, starry night, paint your...
Barbara Fairchild sang with the sweetness that made people think she was pure innocence. But behind her hit, Teddy Bear Song, was a woman living 3 marriages and more rumors than chart entries. Her soft smile fooled radio hosts, but insiders said she was caught in a quiet triangle involving 2 producers who fought over her attention. She once said she loved deeply but badly, a truth that fans could hear in her voice. Fame didn't protect her from heartbreak, it only magnified it. Then came someone smaller in height, but 10 times louder in heart. Number 23, Brenda Lee.
I'm learning by love, got the book on my side. I got the moon and stars.
Brenda Lee stood barely 5 feet tall, but she could silence a room with one look. Rocking around the Christmas tree made her a household name at 13.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop.
Yet by 20, she was already tangled in industry politics and emotional storms. She once dated a touring musician, twice her age, and faced scrutiny that never stopped. Her voice carried power, but her heart carried secrets. From on-the-road flirtations to friendships that walked the fine line between love and career. She ruled the stage, but off-stage, control was another story. And soon, another woman would steal that control right back. Nashville's mystery beauty. Number 22, Jessie Colter.
You did hang the moon, didn't you, Waylon?
Jessie Colter carried mystery in her voice long before she met Waylon Jennings. In the late 60s, she was already Nashville's uncontrollable beauty, married young, divorced fast, and writing songs that sounded like confession letters. When she joined Waylon in the outlaw movement, their chemistry turned dangerous and electric. They drank, fought, and made history together. Yet Jessie stayed her own woman. Her 1975 hit, I'm Not Lisa, mirrored her life, love, loss, and defiance. Even as others tried to label her as Waylon's muse, she wrote her own rebellion in every verse. The next woman didn't need mystery. Her legend began in whispers around her husband's name. Number 21, Jeannie Bear. Jeannie Bear was never the headline, but her stories lived inside them. Married to Bobby Bear, she stood behind one of Nashville's sharpest songwriters and still became part of his lore. Friends said Jeannie ran his touring life like a general, smart, fearless, and sometimes jealous. She was rumored to be the inspiration behind the wildest lyrics in his barroom songs, especially those about temptation. Nashville insiders claim she once showed up mid-tour to confront a backup singer who got too close. She turned quiet power into a kind of fame of her own. But soon, the wild heart of country music moved west and met a woman who changed everything. Number 20, Linda Ronstadt.
Somebody else to my side, and she looks so.
Linda Ronstadt made freedom sound like harmony. In the 1970s, she wasn't bound to Nashville or anyone's expectations. She dated rock stars, Jerry Brown, Jim Morrison, and later, George Lucas, but never let any man define her. Her album sold over 100 million copies, yet her personal life drew just as many headlines. She sang country one year and punk the next, all while facing gossip that called her too wild for Nashville. But Linda said, I never belonged anywhere. Maybe that's why her heart, like her music, never stayed in one place too long. And that restless fire found its match in a woman with sharp words and louder feuds. Number 19, Jean Shepard.
I introduced her to my loved one, and while they were dancing.
Jean Shepard didn't play polite in an industry run by men. Her temper and tongue made her both feared and respected. In the 1950s, she was already a star, but by the 70s, her outspokenness turned her into Nashville's unofficial truth teller. She fought radio stations, scolded drunk songwriters, and once confronted a producer for cheating on his wife, right in the studio hallway. Behind the boldness was heartbreak. She lost her husband, Hawkshaw Hawkins, in the 1963 plane crash that killed Patsy Cline. Still, she carried on and never backed down. But the next woman changed rebellion forever, with grace, style, and quiet defiance that shook the rules. Number 18, Kitty Wells.
Making believe that you never loved me.
Kitty Wells opened the doors that others walked through. In 1952, it wasn't God who made Honky Tonk Angels, sold over 1 million copies, and got her banned from radio stations for daring to answer a man's song. She stayed married to Johnny Wright for 74 years, yet even she faced gossip for touring without him. Her music questioned men's double standards long before feminism had a microphone. By the time the 70s came, she'd become the calm storm behind every female singer who followed. She proved dignity could still cause scandal. And after Kitty, the voices of rebellion grew darker, louder, and far less restrained. Number 17, Billie Joe Spears.
Just because I didn't make it hard for you.
Billie Joe Spears carried heartbreak like perfume. Her smoky voice filled every barroom hit, from Blanket on the Ground to Misty Blue. But behind her soft smile was a storm. In the late 60s, her career almost ended when she had vocal cord surgery, yet she came back fighting. Her charm drew attention everywhere she went, and Nashville's gossip mill spun faster after she left her second husband for a guitarist on tour. She said once, "Music made me brave." That bravery made her unforgettable. And soon, another angelic voice arrived. But her connections stretched far beyond country music alone. Number 16, Emmylou Harris.
8 years old, run with time in my hand.
Emmylou Harris glowed with quiet mystery. Her silver hair and soft voice made her look untouchable. Yet her love life told another story. She worked beside Graham Parsons, the man who shaped her sound, and broke her heart when he died at 26. Their chemistry built a legend, sparking endless rumors that followed her forever.
Graham Parsons, of course, was a founding. He was in the. He snuck into the Byrds and took them down a country road, which I don't think they understood.
She later sang with Bob Dylan and Neil Young, living between folk, rock, and country worlds like she belonged to none. She loved deeply and kept moving, saying grief gives songs their truth. But truth turned complicated when beauty itself became a burden in Nashville. Number 15, Connie Smith. Connie Smith's voice could melt stone, and so could her eyes.
Found somebody new, I thought I never would.
By 1964, she was a teenager mother of 5 and already a star. Her song Once a Day spent 8 weeks at number 1, but her heart kept breaking. She fell in love with songwriter Marty Stewart years before marrying him. He was just 11 when they first met backstage. Decades later, fate pulled them back together. Fans saw romance. Nashville saw scandal. Connie never chased attention, but it always found her. She said, "You can't plan your story." The next woman planned everything, yet chaos still followed her from stage to stage. Number 14, Crystal Gayle.
Don't know why I've been so blue. Don't know why.
Crystal Gayle was elegant in motion, long hair touching the floor, eyes that stopped rooms cold. But behind her polished image lived a restless spirit. Loretta Lynn's younger sister, she grew up fighting comparison and found escape through love and luxury. Her song Talking in Your Sleep mirrored her private life, filled with quiet betrayals and longing glances. Offstage, she was fiercely private, refusing interviews that dug into her affairs. Her calm fooled many, but insiders said she was far tougher than she looked. And then came a woman who wore her heart like armor and turned gossip into a spotlight. Number 13, Dottie West.
Here comes my baby back again.
Dottie West loved hard, sang harder, and paid dearly for both. Her hits like A Lesson in Leavin' and Country Sunshine made her a legend, but her private life burned bright and fast. 3 marriages, endless headlines, and a spending habit that drained her fortune. She helped Kenny Rogers early in his career, and rumors said their chemistry never fully faded. By the 80s, she was broke, driving herself to gigs in old cars just to keep singing. Her final drive in 1991 ended in tragedy, but her spirit never dimmed. And after Dottie, country music's polished image began to crack in ways nobody expected. Number 12, Barbara Mandrell.
I watch him in the mirror as I lie and tell him I don't know how late.
Barbara Mandrell shined like perfection. Every dress, every note, every word seemed polished. But the stories behind the curtain told another tale. By the late 70s, she was juggling fame, family, and endless rumors about secret affairs inside her touring crew. Her 1984 car crash nearly ended her life and left her fighting memory loss for years. Yet, she returned to television smiling through pain, acting like nothing changed. Barbara's image stayed clean, but insiders said she had a wild streak that no headline ever caught. The next love story didn't bother hiding behind curtains. It burned right in the public eye. Number 11, June Carter Cash.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery rain.
June Carter Cash knew how to turn chaos into poetry. Before she became Johnny's wife, she lived through 2 divorces and raised kids while touring across the South. When she and Johnny Cash finally collided, it shook country music's soul. Their affair began while both were married, and the press called her the sinner who saved him. She stood beside him through addiction, arrest, and endless temptation. Yet, she had her own secrets too. Their love burned hot enough to outlast scandal, shaping one of country's most complicated marriages. But the next woman didn't just sing about scandal, she became its living headline. Number 10, Jeannie C. Riley.
Y'all remember Harper Valley and the Harper Valley PTA?
Jeannie C. Riley kicked in the door with Harper Valley PTA. The 1968 hit sold 6 million copies, making her the first woman to top country and pop charts at once. But fame brought chaos fast. She clashed with producers, feuded with managers, and was rumored to have short flings with musicians on tour. Jeannie's sharp tongue made enemies, but her fans adored her honesty. She said, "I never sang anything I didn't believe." That belief carried her into fights most stars avoided. And soon, another woman would turn those same small-town secrets into songs that shook the church walls. Number 9, Loretta Lynn.
Well, I was born a coal miner's daughter in a cabin.
Loretta Lynn sang her truth without no filter. Married at 15, mother of 4 before 20, and yet she became country's loudest female voice. Songs like You Ain't Woman Enough and The Pill made men furious and women stronger. Behind those hits lay a marriage full of fights, heartbreak, and passion that never cooled. Lynn cheated, drank, and left her crying in dressing rooms. But Loretta stayed and turned every tear into gold records. Her music, banned on over 60 stations, proved she was rewriting country's rule book. And behind her rise stood a friend, one who loved harder, laughed louder, and lived faster than anyone else in Nashville. Number 8, Lynn. Smiled like America's sweetheart, but her heart beat like an outlaw's drum. Her 1970 hit, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, made her an international star, yet fame only fed her fire. Behind the sequins and stadium lights, Lynn lived fast, racing horses, burning through marriages, and fighting to control her image in a business built for men. She once told a reporter, "They wanted a lady, but I gave them a storm." By the 80s, her life mixed glamour and chaos, arrests, comebacks, and heartbreaks written in headlines. Through it all, her voice stayed tender, like she was still chasing that impossible promise she sang about. And one of the women who followed her would turn that same heartbreak into pure defiance. Number 7, Patsy Cline.
Crazy.
Patsy Cline carried power in her voice and danger in her heart. She drank, cursed, and laughed louder than any man in the room. In the early 60s, she juggled 2 worlds, a devoted mother at home and a wild spirit on tour. She mentored Loretta Lynn, calling her my little girl, yet often found herself caught in love triangles that Nashville whispered about for decades. Her plane crash in 1963 ended everything too soon, but she had already changed country music's soul. Every woman who came after her followed the trail she set in fire, and one woman turned that fire into pure control. Number 6, Dolly Parton.
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look and tell me what will I find.
Dolly Parton ruled the world with charm sharper than any blade. By 1974, when she left Porter Wagoner's show, Nashville gossiped that love had crossed the line into obsession. Porter threatened lawsuits. Dolly wrote, "I will always love you" as her goodbye. The song hit number 1 twice and made her a millionaire. Yet rumors of affairs followed her for decades. She smiled through them, saying, "I'm not offended by beauty." Her marriage to Carl Dean stayed mysterious. He never joined her spotlight. Dolly played the game smarter than anyone, turning every rumor into gold. But then came a teenager who didn't play by any rule at all. Number 5, Tanya Tucker.
Some odd years ago, a young man came to Memphis asking about a rose.
Tanya Tucker exploded onto the scene at 13 with Delta Dawn. By 19, she was headlining Vegas and dating Glenn Campbell, a man twice her age. Their romance turned into one of the loudest scandals in country history. They fought, broke things, and loved hard in public, and tabloids couldn't get enough. Tanya wore leather, smoked cigars, and told reporters, "I live my songs." She became the wild heart of the outlaw era, balancing fame and chaos before she even hit 25. Her raw power scared Nashville, and they still talk about her.
Anybody was ever born to sing. Of all the people I have observed in this business, I think Tanya Tucker was born to sing.
And then came a woman who had beauty, power, and quiet storms behind every smile. Number 4, Reba McEntire.
He got an apartment. She moved in with her sisters.
Reba McEntire never looked wild, yet her confidence shook everyone. Her rise in the 80s turned heads, but so did her private life. She divorced her first husband in 1987 and soon married her manager, Narvel Blackstock, a move that sparked quiet talk across Nashville. Reba ran her career like an empire, choosing her image, band, and every dollar. Behind the stage light, though, she faced tragedy. A 1991 plane crash killed 7 members of her team, leaving her heartbroken. Still, she came back stronger, turning pain into purpose. The next woman took rebellion to the edge and dated the king himself. Number 3, Wanda Jackson.
Some people like to rock, some people like to roll. The moving and a grooving gonna set us on my soul. Let's have a party.
Wanda Jackson didn't care about rules. She helped destroy them. Known as the Queen of Rockabilly, she toured with Elvis Presley in the 1950s and dated him for over a year. He convinced her to move from country into rock, handing her the microphone that started a revolution. Her fringed dresses and scowling vocals shocked churchgoers, but teenagers adored her. She toured 300 nights a year, partied harder than her band, and still smiled sweetly on stage. Years later, Elvis sent her his cross necklace saying, "You started it all." And somewhere in the shadows of that wild era, another woman burned just as bright before disappearing completely. Number 2, Bobbie Gentry.
Was the 3rd of June, another sleepy, dusty Delta day.
Bobbie Gentry lived like a secret wrapped in silk. In 1967, she wrote Ode to Billy Joe, a song so haunting it sold 5 million copies in a year. People obsessed over what they threw off the Tallahatchie Bridge, but Bobbie stayed quiet, letting mystery make her rich. She dated powerful men, casino owners, actors, producers, and kept every detail private. By the late 70s, after Vegas residencies and TV specials, she simply disappeared. No final concert, no farewell. One day she walked off stage and never came back. And after her silence came one woman who turned heartbreak into an entire era of its own. Number 1, Tammy Wynette.
Sometimes it's hard to be a woman.
Tammy Wynette lived every lyric she ever sang. 5 marriages, constant heartbreak, and songs like Stand By Your Man that became both anthem and confession. Her relationship with George Jones swung between love and chaos. Fights, disappearances, and police calls became routine. Their duets still hold more pain than most novels. In the late 70s, her mysterious kidnapping story filled tabloids, though insiders whispered it was staged to cover bruises from home. Yet Tammy kept performing, even through illnesses and surgeries that left her in constant pain. She said, "I've loved too much. Maybe that's my sin." And that truth made her the final name in country music's wildest legacy. Every song hides a real story, and every legend leaves a secret. Subscribe to uncover more untold lives, broken hearts, and wild truths waiting behind country music's shining lights.